Lou Diamond's music.
And that's rustiness on Jamal Tinsley's part. The high dribble, he missed it with his fingers. It goes off the referee. Let's take the ball the other way.
So Tinsley obviously has to shake off some of the rust here. Commits an early turnover. Just over a minute gone by. Game 5, Celtics and Pacers here from Boston. Scores are knotted at 2 games apiece. We're going to whip the lead away from the basketball. The defensive 2-second call on Indiana.
That's an interesting play. This is Nick Prince again. Coming from the weak side. He got me in the knee. He Jackson. People guys get. He said, I'll check this. Next week, I'll check your hat.
Paul Pierce on game 4 for Pierce. As we take another look, Jermaine was blindfolded by his own. That's a great song. And the defensive in the floor.
Substitute reminds you of the slam dunk and the slam dunk contact with a guy blind himself.
Post originally done by D. Brown. Here's Reggie Davis inside. Nice job by O'Neal. Forcing the corrected shot. And then Davis comes away with it. So again, Jamal Tinsley seeing his first action since the 23rd of February tonight for the Pacers. Give and go. Jackson right back from O'Neal. And finally our first points.
And that's good basketball. The old-fashioned give and go. Jackson to O'Neal. Back to Jackson for the lay-in.
Well, Jackson has averaged 22.5 points per game in this series as the Celtics answer quickly with the glove Gary Payton.
And it's amazing how veterans know when to step up. He knew his team needed a basket. GP knocked it down.
Well, speaking of Doc Rivers, he could not stop gushing about how coachable Gary Payton has been. Another whistle on the Pacers.
Offensive
foul
foul
called on Dale Davis.
Moving the screen. The last thing the offensive player wants, hey, big guy, I'll get open. Just set a good screen. I'll get up and don't move.
Payton works inside, trying to take advantage on Jamal Tinsley. Here is Walker cutting to the basket, and Tinsley active hands defensively. And now Tinsley in the open floor, keeps it himself, swatted by Paul Pierce. And now it's Payton Davis, the trailer, and LaFrance runs the floor.
That's the difference in fast breaks. Tinsley should have made the pass to Reggie Miller in the corner. He did not. He got his shot checked, go the other way. Boston gets a layup.
Ricky Davis, aggressive defense called for the foul there on Tinsley. And that'll be the first on Davis.
Here comes the fast break now. Here's Gary Payton with the ball. Right there, Ricky Davis, he finds Rafe LaFrance. I'll spit it out eventually. And he rewarded a guy who's blocked 2 shots and give him the dunk.
Here is Jermaine O'Neal, and that time Jermaine finally able to capitalize on LaFrance. Rafe 2 early blocks in
that's
the first
important.
quarter.
That's really important. Establish defense in the paint.
Here is Pierce. Tight defense on Jackson. And that would have counted. Jackson called for his first personal.
And that's the aggressiveness of Steven Jackson, because Paul Pierce, such a heady offensive player, gives him a great ball fake. When you're going to give a ball fake, you've got to bring the ball above your head and the elbow to the shoulder level. That's a ball fake. You've got to deceive the guy, make him think you're going to shoot it, and then you can draw the contact. Great move, Paul Pierce.
First point of the game for Pierce at the 9:03 mark of this opening quarter. Doc Rivers continuing on in his first season here at the helm of the Boston Celtics. Hired back on April 29th, right at the end of last season. Dealing with one of the youngest teams in the NBA, certainly in these 2005 playoffs. And now Reggie Miller hears it from the crowd, guarded by Payton. Now Jackson works on Pierce, trying to return the favor from a moment ago. O'Neal inside, and he extends for the left-handed stuff.
And it's amazing how teammates work together, because O'Neal gave Jackson a layup. Now Jackson gives O'Neal a dunk. That's called teamwork.
Payton controls now to Davis, changed his mind in midair, and LaFrance had it taken away by Miller. Now Tinsley. Reggie spots up a 3-pointer, and he knocks it down.
You can't imagine how great that fast break was, because what Tinsley did was he waved Jermaine O'Neal through, which took the defensive man and left Reggie Miller out there for a 3. A great fast break.
And the Pacers put 4 of 7 shooting here at the start. The Celtics meantime at 2 of 4. Pierce trying to work inside, and he lost the handle. Thought he was fouled there, no call. Again, Tinsley runs the break. Davis. And a whistle stops play. The foul called The Boston Celtics, so more free throws for Indiana.
You know, it's interesting on this particular fast break because Dale Davis is running the floor, and the defense is now sort of lagging back to see what Reggie Miller is going to get. Meanwhile, Dale Davis keeps going. Tinsley hits him with the ball. He gets to the basket. If he had taken it right away, he had a three-point play. Yet he ball faked now. He's to shoot 2 free throws. I don't know about those.
First foul called on Antoine Walker. So Dale Davis to the free throw line. His first playoff run with the Indiana Pacers since going to the NBA Finals back in 2000 against the Los Angeles Lakers. Davis signed to a free agent contract on March the 4th after Jermaine O'Neal was placed on the injured list after his original injury to that right shoulder. And Davis right back into the mix with the Pacers in the starting lineup. Pacers on a 7-0 spurt. Here is Davis inside. Had a good look at it as Dale Davis comes away with the rebound. Again, Tinsley running in the open floor. Good closeout by Davis. Now to Miller. Inside, some contact from Payton. And a quick start tonight for Reggie Miller.
Oh, it certainly is, and that's that patented run by Reggie Miller. Payton closed out on the 3, but he got by him. The little run in the lane. I tell you what, when he gets 5 points like that, that's big for the Boston Celtics. You know why? Because Reggie Miller is their leader. When he's got it going, I tell you.
What a quick start to this game, Fred. We wondered how the Pacers would bounce back. So for their worst loss since coming into the NBA back in 1976-77, losing here the other night in Game 4 in Indianapolis, Jamal Tinsley, Doc Rivers, Fred, talked about how he changes things, what a great handle he has on the basketball in this Pacers offense. 2 early assists for him already.
Well, I tell you what, you look at the whole numbers, and the Pacers right now, 5 field goals, 5 assists. And I think it's all centered around Jamal Tinsley because he's the guy that runs this offense. That's their comfort level. Meanwhile, if you look at the numbers again, Indiana shooting 62% from the floor. And if we go back to Game 4, for the game, they shot 27%. Right now, they have the Celtic fans out of the ballgame.
Another sold-out crowd here at the Fleet Center. 15,600 in attendance. And still waiting for something to cheer about. Pierce out of the timeout. And his pass intended for Ricky Davis is taken by O'Neal. Again, Tinsley runs the break. Miller spots up. And Pierce has the weak side rebound. Out of the timeout, the Celtics with Walker, Davis, LaFrance, Payton, and Paul Pierce. Walker now tries to muscle Davis. Gets it right back from LaFrance. Walker, a trademark little baby hook shot with the right hand.
And that's his shot. He's got the size and strength on Jackson. A little too thin to be in there with Walker. Took advantage of him. Point blank range. He made the little jump hook.
Pacers with Tinsley, Jackson, Dale Davis, O'Neal, and Reggie Miller. O'Neal backs his way in on the French. Tries to create some space with that injured right shoulder. And the second early field goal for Jermaine O'Neal, making his 3rd bucket.
And he's tough, too. He's backing his defensive player into the paint, putting the body on him. Oh, boy, this is mano.
Here is Walker trying to battle his way in. Walker, the tip-in won't go. And O'Neal collects another rebound. So Jermaine now with 6 points on 3 of 4 shooting. Scored just 9 in that entire Game 4 at Conseco. Here is Tinsley trying to find some space.
And that's conditioning. He tried to quick that shot, so it didn't get it blocked. Just a little short.
Pierce steps out on a 3. Second rebound taken by Jermaine O'Neal.
And this is a good thing. Tinsley's walking the ball up the floor. He may be a little winded, but right now, when you have control of the ball game, play it slow.
These two teams meeting in the first round of the NBA playoffs for a 3rd straight season. It's the first time in the history of the league that has happened. Steven Jackson left wide open, nearly lost it there. And now Anthony Johnson set to check in at the scorer's table. Celtics move it around the perimeter. Rafe LaFrance. Well, LaFrance has been hot and cold, but when he has been on offensively, Freddie, the Celtics have been tough to beat.
It spreads the floor. Mr. Defense, Mr. Offense, 2 block shots. Now he's got a 3-pointer and a dunk in transition.
Tinsley works around a screen. His pass for Davis is deflected away. Pierce able to back tap to Antoine Walker. And now Antoine runs the break. Davis right to the basket.
And again, what Boston did there was defense to offense. They get the steal, they get in the open floor. That's when they push the tempo of the ball game.
So the Celtics answer that early Indiana run with a spurt of their own now. And Rick Carlisle wants to burn a timeout. Just over 5 minutes left to play. Opening quarter from Von Walker back in the mix. Freddie getting involved in a transition game. And that's the great thing about Walker. If you're Doc Rivers, he can play that slow, grinded out style in the half court. He'll also get out and run with the young guys.
And it gives them another ball handler in the Antoine Walker, because he can defensive rebound the basketball and push to the length of the floor. He is an unselfish player. Sometimes you do question his shot selection, but he is not a selfish basketball player.
Out of the timeout, Boston going with Payton, Walker, Pierce, Rafe LaFrentz.
Meanwhile, the Celtics
and Ricky Davis.
Meanwhile, the Celtics uncharacteristically have 7 turnovers already.
And Jamal Tinsley will take a breather. Has to be winded.
He looked a little winded.
Playing for the first time again, if you're just joining us, since February the 23rd, that badly bruised left foot. But it's playoff time. If you can play, you'll have to get out there and help your team. Anthony Johnson dealing with a host of different injuries. The turnover, Payton inside, and able to switch to the left hand in midair.
And again, it's defense to offense. You get a turnover, and all of a sudden they're pushing the ball down the floor. That's the speed the Celtics want.
So Payton extends the run now to 7-0, and an offensive foul called on Jermaine O'Neal. And again, LaFrentz holding his ground defensively.
And that's a tough call there, because when you allow the defensive player to bounce into the offensive player and then fall backwards, it makes it tough. And here the Celtics in transition. Let's pick it up here. Ball hit the floor. Payton with a great left-hand layup.
Ricky Davis splits 2 defenders. LaFrentz right to the basket. And we'll see who gets the foul here. Jackson and O'Neal both in the vicinity. And that'll be the second on Steven Jackson. We'll see what Rick Carlisle does here.
Rafe LaFrentz has provided so much spark in his ball club. Let's go back to the 2 block shots. Now he makes the 3. And all of a sudden, you can hear the fans come alive. He gets it up on a fast break. The Celtics now are off and running. Indiana's got to slow it up and change the pace of the ball game.
Rafe LaFrentz. And the Celtics now just 1 of 4 as a team at the free throw line. LaFrentz on the season, one of the better free throw shooters on the team at 81%. More substitutions now for the Pacers. Dale Davis sits down. And Jeff Foster checks in. And also James Jones into the game for the first time tonight.
And with Anthony Johnson in the game, watch the Celtics pick up full court, because he doesn't have the ball speed to beat you. He can handle the ball, but it's a 2-guard handling the ball, so that makes a big difference. They'll make him work in the backcourt.
So the Pacers now with Johnson, Foster, James Jones, O'Neal, and a veteran Reggie Miller. And a chance of defense here at the Fleet Center. Jones trying to find a teammate. Down low, O'Neal. Shot clock down to 7. LaFrentz trying to extend his low post defense. O'Neal, 1 dribble to free himself. And a great start for Jermaine O'Neal. 4 of 5 for 8 points in 8+ minutes.
And Jermaine O'Neal looks like Jermaine O'Neal, especially Jermaine O'Neal in Game 3.
O'Neal again just 9 points, 4 of 15 shooting in Game 4. Pierce nearly lost it. Inside for Payton, double team. Now Walker, a flat-footed 3 with the shot clock down to 6. And O'Neal has himself another rebound. Delonte West set to check in at the scorer's table for the Celtics. Pacers have it, trying to build on a 4-point lead here in Game 5. O'Neal again left open. Foster snatches the offensive rebound. And Jeff Foster gets right to work.
I tell you what, he's a hungry Jeff or a hungry Jack, if you want to call him that. But he offensive rebounds, does all the dirty work for his ball club. What a big play, even though it's early in the ball game. Big offensive rebound.
Foster, 28 years of age, another player nicked up for the Pacers, battling hip and lower back problems. Who isn't injured on this Pacers roster?
But this team hangs tough.
Shot clock down to 4. Davis fires it over Reggie Miller.
What a great crossover, going right to left. 1 dribble on the crossover, up, stopped on the dime, knocked it down.
So Ricky Davis, a big contribution, making a 2nd straight postseason start tonight for Doc Rivers. Shot clock down to 10. Johnson trying to work against the glove inside. Payton, good defense. And Pierce trying to back tap to himself. James Jones left open. O'Neal a hand on it. And finally LaFrentz comes away with it, but his pass too strong. Anthony Johnson. Reggie trying to find the open spot. Double team, they leave O'Neal. And then Foster sneaks in, misses a layup. Ricky Davis pull-up jumper. And both teams have gone cold as the Pacers lead remains 4 points.
Missing layups like that becomes playoff jitters. When you go to game 5, guys know how big the situation is.
Inside of 2 minutes left now in this opening quarter, O'Neal wants to turn and face on the fronts. O'Neal with 8 of the Pacers' first 21 points. That time too strong with it. And Walker collects his first rebound.
And that's a tough shot for Jermaine. Pass it, go to the post, and get it back.
Here is Davis now. Again, has the height advantage. And a lower block against Anthony Johnson trying to take advantage. Davis double teamed. Here is Payton trying to find his way inside the lane. And James Jones couldn't stay in front of him.
And should not be able to, because his turning radius is not the same as Gary Payton. He knows that. Took him to the basket, got the left-hand lay-in.
Well, Gary Payton, no stranger to the NBA playoffs, a 9-time NBA All-Star. And Payton with 3 early field goals still has not missed. And the Celtics to within 2 points. Well, Reggie having some issues defensively.
Yeah, and as we see, Ricky Davis go and make the jump shot. Here's big man tried to close out. Gary recognized the big man coming at him. What you do is ball fake him, take it to the hole, get the lay-in, and that's the old man in the sea, Gary Payton.
What do you think of Gary at this stage of his career? We know he had some issues in Los Angeles with playing time with Phil Jackson, but again, Doc Rivers has loved coaching this guy this season. A big reason why once he left in that trade, they wanted to bring him back and sign him to that free agent contract after the Hawks waived him.
And it's amazing because so many people criticized Gary Payton last year, saying that he lost it. His game is gone. All of a sudden he comes to Boston and there is a revitalization. Gary Payton is back loving the game. It says to me that he probably did not understand the triangular offense. It probably became a hypotenuse for him.
Well, Gary, just look at his numbers in the series. Certainly game 4, big contribution. 14 points, 6 boards, in addition to his 3 assists. And now we move under a minute in this opening quarter. Jermaine has found his offensive rhythm. A nice bounce-back performance, I beg your pardon, as he now has 10 first-quarter points.
It was a nice jump shot out high. You can see he's confident and he's feeling it.
There's Payton working on Johnson. Paul Pierce inside right for the French. Good defense as Jermaine may have got a piece of it.
He returned the favor. You block mine, I'll block yours.
And a whistle stops play. The offensive foul called on the Pacers' James Jones. And now some more substitutions. Al Jefferson and Marcus Banks in for the Celtics. Fred Jones has checked in for the Pacers.
Here's James Jones getting off the floor. Once you get off the floor, bad things happen. You either throw it away, you commit an offensive foul, something bad's going to happen. Keep your dribble alive, pick it up, toss it back out to someone else. You don't have to make the play yourself.
That's the 3rd offensive foul that's been called on the Pacers in this opening quarter. And now it is Marcus Banks, the second-year man. And if UNLV controlling for the Celtics. Inside, they leave Jefferson open.
It looked like the Pacers got caught in a zone, and they paid for it because the middle of the zone was wide open.
And the Celtics again to within 2 points. At a 3-second difference, shot to game clock. And a reaching call here on Marcus Banks. And it is a side-out situation. The Celtics still had a foul to give.
And right there, the big guy left all alone in the lane. Well, you leave a big guy in the lane, that's what he'll do. He'll dunk it.
So it will be Fred Jones inbounding at the 14th foul on the Celtics. So 13 on the shot clock now. 14 seconds left in the period. Anthony Johnson will work on Marcus Banks. O'Neal sets a screen, then Jermaine takes it down to 2 to shoot, has to force it up. A tip in, Foster a second chance. Jones did not have time for the extra pass. Jones had to shoot that ball. As the Boston Celtics, Freddie, able to close out that first quarter a lot better than they started.
They certainly did. It was so important to do that because, after all, you give a team daylight, all of a sudden they get it.
That first quarter, 9 of 15 shooting. They end, though, missing 6 of their final 7 shots as the Celtics able to chip away at the deficit now. This is a 2-point basketball game.
And it's amazing how this quarter turned around. At the 7-minute mark of this quarter, they'd only played 5 minutes. Pacers shooting 62% from the floor, Celtics 40%. At the end of the quarter, the Celtics wind up shooting 50%, the Pacers 45%. A tale of two cities all in one quarter.
Well, Doc recommitting himself in game 4, Fred, to that up-tempo style with some of his younger, faster players, as Tony Allen will start the period in the backcourt with Marcus Banks.
And you can see the full court pressure by the Celtics.
Fast break points not yet a factor in this game tonight. Pacers with Fred Jones, Pollard, James Jones, Foster, and Anthony Johnson. Shot from Pollard off target.
I don't know whether they want Scott Pollard outside shooting jump shots.
Here is Marcus Banks. There's a lot of spring in his step for his jumper. He's off the mark. Fred Jones with the rebound.
And right now, the Pacers have a unit out there that's going to have a tough time scoring. Rick Carlisle may be caught with a bad offensive unit in the ballgame.
You're right, very unconventional lineup now. Both Reggie and Jermaine O'Neal on the bench to start the quarter for the Pacers. Jones. Now to Johnson. Shot clock down to 3. Here is James Jones. Quick catch and shoot off balance. Knocks it down. A long 2-point field goal.
And that bought those guys some time because that clock was winding down. Rick would look at that lineup and say, hey, this lineup can't score.
Well, James Jones thrust into a more prominent role with the Pacers. The different injuries that they're dealing with. Jones' second season, a native of Miami. Celtics going with Delonte West here at the start of the second. Shot clock down at 2. West, arguably the best shooter on this Celtics roster as a rookie, and he knocks down that off-balance shot.
He got one to fall home. As the clock was winding down, he had to do something with it. He got 2 points for his ball club.
Well, West actually started game 4 for Doc Rivers in Indianapolis. Foster catches the air ball from Johnson, and he finishes off glass.
And this unit that Rick Carlisle's on the floor, even though I don't think they're a good offensive unit, they've given him 5 points.
So Jeff Foster, the 60-year man out of San Antonio. And the Pacers lead back to 4 now. Here's Pierce trying to work on the youngster James Jones. And Anthony Johnson with the rebound. Celtics countering this unconventional Pacers lineup with Banks, Pierce, Delonte West, Jefferson, and Tony Allen. So 3 rookies on the floor for Boston, and Scott Pollard stepping out.
Trick or treat when Scott Pollard knocks down an outside jump shot. Again, this Pacers lineup has gotten Coach 7 points. All of a sudden now, there's a 6-point lead for the Pacers.
You got to be careful when you sit this close to the floor. These guys can hear what you're saying.
I'll blame it on you.
Pierce now trying to back in on Foster. Quick spin move baseline. Was triple teamed for a moment, and that left Delonte West open.
Talking about scoring, the Celtics don't have much of an offensive lineup. Only Paul Pierce in the ball game. Pacers score again, you'll see a Celtic timeout.
Now Foster turned aside. They actually double-teamed Jeff Foster that time. Here is Banks. That stutter step move. And a little bit overly aggressive trying to beat the Pacers in the transition.
We'll go back to game 3, and that's where I thought Doc Rivers got caught with a bad lineup. He may be getting caught the same thing with the bad lineup in the ball game, and all of a sudden the Pacers have brought their starters some rest.
Here is Pollard now as the hot hand for the Pacers. And where is this coming from? Scott Pollard, 2 of 3. In 3 minutes, he has 4 points.
Well, Doc Rivers better get himself a timeout because this team doesn't look like they really know exactly what they're doing at this point. Bad lineup in the ball game.
Well, Pollard played in just 49 games during the season and already has surpassed his season average with his 4 points. So we're breaking the action. Second quarter here in game 5.
You got Ricky Davis in the ball game, but other than that, I don't see the 5th player coming out there, but that's Marcus Banks. That's not a lineup that can score points. Meanwhile, not that the Pacers have a lineup that can score, but they're scoring. Scott Pollard, feed me, I'm hot. 2 in a row. His next shot has got to be a heat check. He's got to see if he's got it going.
So the Pacers have led by as many as 10 points. And again, if you're just joining us, Indiana getting a much-needed jolt to their lineup tonight with the return of Jamal Tinsley. Actually got the start for Rick Carlisle at the point guard position. His first game action since February 23rd. And now how will the Celtics respond? Down 8. Davis able to spin inside on Jones. And a whistle stops play. A loose ball foul called on Boston.
And another non-basket. Ricky Davis becomes the only offensive player. This is a ball game that can get away from you. As I said before, you can't coach playoffs like you coach regular season. This is game 5, the swing game, or after this game to win it.
Foul called on the Celtics' second-year man, Kendrick Perkins, into the game for the first time. And Doc hinted that Perkins would see some added minutes tonight. Shot clock winds down to 5 seconds. Pacers very patient in their half-court sets, a little bit too patient that time. As Johnson's shot rims off. Now Delonte West. Again, you can see the Celtics trying to push tempo, but the Pacers getting back.
They don't have good offensive players on the floor. Somebody's got to make a shot for them.
Marcus Banks. They'll go down low to Ricky Davis. And he is the offensive catalyst right now with both Pierce and Antoine Walker on the bench.
And great job again, ball fake. It's so amazing. A lot of players don't know how to ball fake. But watch those elbows come shoulder high. And when that comes shoulder high, that's a good ball fake. Any less than that, a player's not going to go for it.
Foul called on Anthony Johnson. That's his first. And so Ricky Davis, who has been hot and cold at the free throw line in this series. Off to a slow start tonight. And speaking of slow starts for the Celtics, 2 of 6 as a team at the free throw line as Antoine Walker checks back in.
And when a player sits that long, it takes him maybe 2 minutes to get loose, to gain the speed, to gain the flow of the ball game. He's got to make 1 or 2. Make both is like a turnover. Miss both is like a turnover.
So Davis knocks down 1 of 2. He has 5 points. And over the first 12 minutes of action for him tonight. Well, the Celtics handed the Pacers their worst postseason loss since joining the NBA in 1976 in Game 4. And so far, the Pacers have responded. The lead is 7. Here is Fred Jones. Pollard thought about the give and go. Instead, capes it himself. And Pollard follows his own miss. And a brand new shot clock for Indiana. Here is James Jones. Little teardrop runner. And James Jones able to convert another field goal. That's his second.
Doc Rivers has got to be careful because he's got that lineup in the ball game. He's not going to get it done. And by the time those starters get back, it may be a 12, 15-point ball game.
Well, James Jones with a taste of the playoffs for the first time in his career. West inside as he finds the rookie Jefferson. And the first-year man will step to the free throw line. And some substitutions now for both teams. We'll get LaFrentz and Pierce back in. Steven Jackson also in for the Pacers.
And Jermaine O'Neal coming in as well. But what happens now? In the chess match, the Indiana Pacer bench won the time period. Boston was not able to score. Indiana Pacers stretches to a 9-point lead. Now it buys them some time. They were in the Fleet Center. So now you're on the road, and now that bought you some time in the swing game. Doc Rivers may have kept his starters out there a little bit too long.
Now Jefferson, a look a moment ago, a very confident player, Freddie, as we talked about last time we saw these two teams in Game 2 at Conseco Fieldhouse. He feels he can score on anyone. Doesn't matter who's defending him.
It's amazing. Doc Rivers said he has maybe that Moses Malone mentality that he can score on anyone. If you go back to the rookie Got Milk Challenge, he did a great job down there in the paint. He was almost a man among boys.
Jefferson, the first ever high school player to be drafted by the Boston Celtics. And he has brought Boston back to within 7. Jermaine O'Neal, strong move to the cup as he works on the rookie Jefferson.
And it was a great seal in the lane. Once you seal in the lane and get a good bounce pass like that, he made a left-hand layup. What a great play.
And O'Neal now 6 of 10 shooting. He has 12 points and 5 rebounds. Quick release, Ricky Davis. Well, Davis has been the one bright spot offensively for the Celtics. He has 7 points in 13 minutes.
It's amazing when you make a free throw, it makes your jump shot just a little bit better.
Jamal Tinsley back in for the Pacers. And he gets right back to work. The bank shot over the outstretched arms of Jefferson.
And we don't see that tenacity, that tenacious defense that Boston displayed in Indianapolis.
How about the play of Tinsley? Subtle numbers, 2 points and 3 assists, but he looks like he has not missed a beat.
Well, he settled down this ball club tremendously.
Here is Pierce. Got away with a push-off there, trying to create some space with his left forearm on Tinsley.
Jamal Tinsley got caught pulling him by the arm, trying to draw the offensive foul, as if most players let a guy post up and they pull the chair out and let him fall. But this Tinsley here, right to seal in the Jermaine O'Neal. Jefferson's got to realize you can't let big guys get that close to the basket.
Well, the chief among those in attendance tonight as we welcome you back inside the Fleet Center, former Celtics great Robert Parrish.
And still that stoic look.
He looks great. He hasn't put on any pounds since his retirement. And Robert Parrish has to be a little bit concerned, Freddie, with this slow start as Game 5 winds down towards halftime. Now the Pacers riding some of their top players. Reggie Miller getting off early. Jermaine O'Neal already into double digits, Fred. And the Pacers look a lot more crisp on the offensive end.
And the Pacers bench did a great job. Scott Pollard comes off the bench and makes 2 jump shots. That's big because all of a sudden they got separation from the Boston Celtics in their building. All of a sudden now you bring your starters back in. They feel a little more comfortable. All of a sudden now, for a while, the Pacers have control of this ball game.
And again, the Celtics just 3 combined points from Walker and Paul Pierce. The 2 connect there as Walker's 3 is a bit short. Pacers out of the timeout with Tinsley, O'Neal, Fred Jones, Jackson, and Dale Davis back in. And Jermaine O'Neal, in addition to his 12 points now with 6 first-half rebounds. Here is Jackson, able to knife his way through. And a whistle stops play. Another foul called on the Celtics as Reggie Miller will check in now for Rick Carlisle.
And now you bring a Reggie Miller ball game here. The Pacers are holding a 9-point lead with Steven Jackson on the free throw line with 5.5 to go in the second period. Everything now is going Indiana's way.
Fred Jones sits down as Miller replaces him. Foul called on Paul Pierce a moment ago. And for Pierce, that is his first personal. Celtics start out of the timeout with Payton, Davis, Pierce, Antoine Walker, and Rafe LaFrance.
And if this game should go Indiana's way, we may go all the way back to the second quarter when the substitutions and the benches came in, and all of a sudden, Indiana got separation from the Celtics.
Keep in mind, the Pacers have never won a playoff series after losing Game 1.
These young guys don't know that.
Ignorance is bliss sometimes. Ricky Davis double teamed and he commits another turnover. Jermaine comes up with the steal.
Up in the air again. Players up in the air trying to throw passes will commit turnover.
So the Celtics 9 first-half turnovers. Jackson thought about it as Pierce closed out. Jermaine double teamed. And O'Neal has that bounce in his step again. Very similar to what we saw early last week at Game 2 back at Conseco Fieldhouse.
Well, they know the importance. This is the team that came in this building hungry. They understand the sense of urgency. They did not want to go back to their building being down 2-3 and trying to win Game 6.
So the game clock stopped at 5:03 left to play in this first half. Doc Rivers, I knew that if Jamal Tinsley went tonight, and he predicted that he would play in our chat with him in his office earlier tonight, knew that the series changes dramatically with the ball handling skills that Tinsley brings to the table. Now the Pacers with their largest lead of this game at 13 points.
And Boston have their starters back in the game, but it'll take a couple of minutes for them to get their rhythm. Meanwhile, what do you have here? The Pacers are still scoring. Great drive by Antoine Walker.
And Walker just his second field goal, 2 of 7. And Paul Pierce still looking for his first bucket. Just 2 shot attempts for Pierce in 17 minutes. Chance of defense. Great recognition as Tinsley locates Dale Davis.
Everyone's compressed in the lane, but Tinsley, great eyes. He found Dale Davis in the lane, caught it, made the dunk. What a great play.
And all due respect to Anthony Johnson, that's a play that he does not make, and that is what Tinsley brings to the table.
Well, he's not a point guard, so you're not disrespecting him. He's not a point guard. He's a 2-guard playing 1.
Good defense by Davis, trying to negate Antoine Walker. Well, the Pacers in complete control, exactly the kind of start that they needed, as they have completely taken this Fleet Center crowd out of the game. Tinsley looking for his offense. Davis sneaks past the defense and stuffs it through.
And that's what you do. You take off on the shooter, especially a three-point shooter, because the guy is watching his ball fly in the air. He does look at his defensive man. Davis takes off, he gets a lay-in.
And now suddenly the crowd comes alive as Davis puts in his 9th point of the night. Here is Stephen Jackson, shot clock down to 9 seconds. They go right back to their 5-man, Jermaine O'Neal, and he lost the handle off his foot.
It's amazing how the flow of a game can change. Tinsley elected to shoot a 3. All of a sudden, that offensive karma is seeming to slip away from the Pacers.
Both teams having turnover problems, 17 combined in the first half tonight. Payton misses the chippy as Reggie Miller was right behind him.
I think Reggie Miller got a piece of that.
And a whistle stops play. We'll get a timeout. Rick Carlisle wants to talk things over at the 3:08 mark of the second period. Game 5 here at the Fleet Center. And a look at the transition play. Pierce to Ricky Davis. Timeout. To play before halftime. Our high scores, Jermaine O'Neal, 14 points for the Indiana Pacers. And Ricky Davis with 9 to lead the Celtics. And Fred, you have talked often about closing out the quarter in strong fashion. Rick Carlisle wants to maintain this double-digit lead going into the locker room.
Oh, he certainly does, Spearman. That's a great, because when you get down to this point, that's the purpose of Rick Carlisle's timeout, to get his team to execute. We hold 11. Let's keep it double digits. Don't let them get it to 7 or 5.
Here is Tinsley working on Ricky Davis out of the timeout. Tinsley, pull-up jumper. And Jamal Tinsley far exceeding expectations as he returns to the lineup tonight for the first time since late February.
And it puts a lot of pressure on the Celtics to respond. It's a 13-point game, closing out the half.
Tinsley, 11 minutes, Fred, 4 points and 4 assists. Here is Pierce. Nifty step-through move as Stephen Jackson got the help defense from Jermaine O'Neal. And that is number 3 on Jackson. And he will have to take a seat.
And right now, Boston's running a community offense where everybody's involved, everybody touches the ball, everybody shoots the ball. Oh, yeah, that's well and good, but somewhere along the line, the truth, Paul Pierce has got to get touches and shots. He puts too much pressure on the defense. We saw what he did in Game 4. Now you'll get it to him late, but he may not find that rhythm.
Well, apparently a technical foul has been called. Well, Jackson apparently had something to say as he made his way to the bench. So credit the free throw to Pierce. And now Paul with another chance at the free throw line.
Steven, come on, screw your head on tight. This is playoff time. It's not about you, it's about the team winning. Don't get technicals. Don't cost your team points that they can't defend. Screw the head on just a little tighter.
And Jackson was involved in that altercation in game.
Focus.
Yeah.
That's what players have to do, both sides.
Game 3 of this series earlier at Conseco Fieldhouse. The altercation between Jermaine O'Neal and Antoine Walker as Pierce's free throws bring the Celtics back to within 10 points. They trailed by as many as 13. Tinsley gets the play call from his coach, Rick Carlisle. Again, chance of defense. Reggie Miller blanketed by Gary Payton. Now Jermaine has it. Shot clock down to 7. And LaFrentz pokes it away. Here is Pierce, left open, a 3. And finally, Paul Pierce at the 2:10 mark with his first field goal.
And right now, the Celtics are on a 6-2 run. And you know Pierce is going to make that. He just made 2 free throws. How many times have I said, make free throws, you make jump shots?
Dale Davis left open, gets it back to Miller. Right back to Davis. And a nifty little spin move from Dale Davis.
Oh, you talk about silencing the Lambs. What a great shot for Dale Davis in the lane. An offensive player you don't expect to make a basket.
Updated score over on TNT. The Sixers with a 24-21 lead over the Pistons. End of one quarter. Pierce again. Same result. A long 2-point field goal.
It's about time you look for Paul Pierce. He can make those shots.
And suddenly Pierce has 9 points. Tinsley, the kick out, James Jones knocks it down, and a foul is called.
4-point play.
And a chance at a 4th point for the second-year man, James Jones.
Well, I tell you what, if you're watching this game in high definition, you're seeing high-definition basketball.
Foul on Paul Pierce as Doc Rivers looks on. And no question about it, a lot of contact as Jones puts it through.
And what makes it so good is Jones stayed on this shot. A lot of guys will let themselves be distracted by dropping their eyes down and looking at the guy run at him. He stayed on the basket. He makes the three, a tougher shot, and misses the easy free throw.
Well, Jones, an 85% free throw shooter, misses. Pierce right to the basket, could not finish. And now the Pacers with a chance to build on this 10-point lead. And we hit the 1 minute mark now left in this second quarter from the Fleet Center. Shot clock down to 6. Tinsley gets a screen from O'Neal. Dale Davis had a good look at it. Here's Ricky Davis now. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Davis just puts his head down right to the basket. Offensive rebound and finish from Antoine Walker.
And this Celtic team has come alive. They've cut this lead from 13 to 8.
And Davis nearly comes up with the steal.
And Tinsley's tired because he didn't fight to get to the inbound pass. That was almost a 5 count on the Pacers, which would have been a turnover.
Pacers have led by as many as 13 points. It's down to 8 right now. Jermaine, again, strong defense from LaFrance. And the Celtics can hold it for the final shot as Walker gets the instructions from Doc Rivers, who tells him, get it to Paul Pierce. And now better than 18,000 up on their feet here at the Fleet Center. Down to 4 seconds. Pierce, as Tinsley comes away with it. Up ahead for Jones. And that shot would not have counted. It came after the buzzer had sounded. So the Indiana Pacers with a 13-point lead earlier in the second quarter, unable to close out that period the way they would have liked.
And it started at 11-point lead at the timeout, and all of a sudden Boston.
Here is Pierce now trying to work on Jackson. Shot clock down to 4. Davis has to hurry. Skies inside. And a hard foul applied by Dale Davis.
You know, Spiro, the importance of keeping the ball in Paul Pierce's hands. It disrupts the defense. It forces rotation, double team. The ball goes around the horn. Ricky Davis now catches the defense running at him. He penetrates, gets in the lane, gets 2 free throws. Somewhere along the line, Paul Pierce should get some type of an assist for that.
Well, the Boston Celtics surviving a major gut check game, game 4. And no Antoine Walker suspended by the NBA for his involvement in that altercation back in Indianapolis. And the Celtics responding. Paul Pierce, who told you about his numbers in game 4, the 30 points, also 5 block shots. And now the question, can they respond tonight after the Pacers really dictated the tempo in the first half of this game? Here is Reggie Miller, quiet so far, just 2 of 3 shooting in 17+ minutes. Here is Jackson, gonna knife two defenders, finds Davis, and a foul is called.
And it's a good catch by Dale Davis. Not known to have the best of hands, but he caught that ball down around his waist. Ball fake, pump fake, got him up in the air, got the contact. Watch the play. Catching it down low. That's a good catch. Pump fake, gets the contact, gets the land. That's pretty good basketball.
And Freddie, that's the advantage of having Jermaine O'Neal active, as he usually is tonight. 14 points. All of a sudden you sag off that other offensive low post player, and tonight it's been Dale Davis.
And that's making other players better, giving them opportunities, because why? You attract so much attention.
And Davis misfires on the free throw. One of the worst free throw shooters in the NBA, but Davis in double digits tonight with 10 points. He has had a big series for the Pacers. Davis attacks the rim again. And Davis ultra aggressive tonight, Freddie, going to the basket.
And a strong move to the basket, he mentioned, and you said it right, Spiro. He attacked the basket.
Ricky Davis now 13 points and 4 rebounds, and Davis gets his hands dirty as he dives for the loose ball, and he gets the timeout. Monty McCutcheon right on top of it. And Ricky a little bit shaken up.
You know, here's a guy. Watch Ricky Davis here. Tinsley loses the handle of the ball. That may be conditioning, but Davis makes a strong play, diving on the floor to get it. Here's the guy that was traded from Cleveland last year, a maligned player. A lot of people talked about him. He just missed being 6th man of the year. And I tell you what, Ricky Davis is playing some winning basketball.
And we talked to Doc Rivers earlier tonight. Ben Gordon, of course, named earlier today by the NBA as the league's 6th man of the year. Davis led all 6th men in the NBA, Freddie, in points per game. Really all of his stats better than Ben Gordon, but Gordon, of course, as a rookie player, maybe a flashier, sexier pick, if you will.
He had a stellar year, though. Double figures a lot of times in the fourth period, and that's when it counts.
Well, you can make a strong argument for both players. Updated score on TNT. The Sixers lead the Pistons 36-34 late second quarter. Gary Payton misses everything, but Davis in the right place at the right time. Here's LaFrance for three. And that one way off target. Jermaine O'Neal clears his seventh rebound.
And that's a good stop by the Pacers, but they've got to still continue the offense. Don't turn the ball over.
If you're just joining us, Jamon Tinsley, his first game action tonight since February the 23rd. O'Neal had a great look at it. Could not convert. Here is Ricky Davis. Davis making a second straight playoff start tonight for Doc Rivers.
And they've got to get the ball back in the hands of Paul Pierce. Ricky Davis is a great player, not a star, not going to control this game. Get it back into the hands of Paul Pierce.
Pacers have led this game by as many as 13 points. But the Celtics to within 8. Here is Jackson. Has quieted down after his quick start. And Rafe LaFrance, not the foul that you want to commit as a big man that far away from the basket.
But again, it's a pump fake, and I said it before, I say it again. When you come off your pump fake, you've got to get the elbows to come shoulder high. Now that's the deceit. That lets a player know that I'm going to get into the act of shooting. You have to fake his reactions, fake his instincts, and if you can do that, you'll get him in the air.
Steven Jackson on the season, 83% at the free throw line as Delonte West will check in. Rafe LaFrance sits down after picking up his third foul.
And the Celtics are going very, very small. Let's see how the Pacers respond. See if they get the ball inside of Jermaine O'Neal now.
Keep in mind, Delonte West started for the Celtics in that pivotal Game 4 back in Indianapolis. So the Celtics now with West, the rookie, Walker, Pierce, Payton, and Ricky Davis. Pacers lead back to double digits. And a kickball. There's the call here on the Pacers. So they'll reset the shot clock to 14 seconds.
Interesting matchup. Jermaine O'Neal is guarding Delonte West. I don't know how that's going to work out. I would think you'd give the ball to Delonte and let him beat O'Neal and get in the lane and make something happen.
Here's double team momentarily, and then Jackson trying to flail his arms at it. Is called for the reach in, and that is number 4, Fred, on Steven Jackson.
And he's got to know he's got 4 fouls. Right here, tries to reach right here. Oh, you can't see what happens? That's body contact's foul. He's taking himself out of the ball game. Play your man straight up, move your feet, don't reach. For superstars, if you reach, they'll teach.
And James Jones, his second-year man, has to replace Jackson. Here is Walker, comes up with the loose ball, misses the layup. That's the second chippy he's missed tonight.
Oh, and that was a Gussie right there. The left hand was just, the iron was unkind. Ball rolled off the rim on him.
And Antoine Walker now has missed 7 of his 10 shots tonight. Dale Davis, they dare him to shoot. Now Jermaine O'Neal back to the basket, double teamed by Walker and Pierce, down to 2 to shoot. And the Pacers bailed out here. That is not a very intelligent play by the rookie. Delonte West, the shot clock down to 2.
And he doesn't understand when a guy's moving forward toward the basket, you cannot make hand contact and impede his forward progress. Meanwhile, you're talking about guys waiting for Dale Davis to shoot. I saw Celtic players raising their hand for a fair catch if he shot the ball looking to get a rebound, huh?
Delonte called for his first personal. Tinsley right back to his big man O'Neal. West sags down. Shot clock down to 5. Tinsley. And it's way short. Walker another rebound. That's his 5th tonight. Here is Payton right by his defensive man, Tinsley. And Tinsley called for the foul.
This is an interesting call because the player never got into the act of shooting, so you can't assume shot because he can still pass it. But it's there called to the hoop. Sometimes, because that's the continuation rule that's very difficult for players, for referees to make.
That was the last defense, Tinsley. There was no defensive help behind him. As Payton steps to the line, knocks down his first. And we update you on the score late second quarter from the Palace of Auburn Hills. Game 5, Pistons and Sixers. And Detroit now has taken a 1-point lead in that game, 39-38 on TNT. Here at the Fleet Center, Game 5, Celtics and Pacers in high definition tonight on NBA TV. Spiro Ditas, Fred Carter, our entire NBA TV crew. Here is Jamon Tinsley trying to work on the rookie West. And Delonte held his ground, but the Celtics touch it last. Pacers will have it with 9 to shoot.
Watch the defense of Delonte West. Tinsley's really trying to bogart and work him over, push him. He stays his ground. Meanwhile, Tinsley still trying to get himself in the offense. It's not going to work. Get the ball under the basket to Jermaine O'Neal. Keep it simple.
Tinsley inbounds to Dale Davis. At good position right after the catch. And Jermaine had a hand on it, couldn't come away with it. West has his pocket picked by Tinsley. And a 3-on-1 develops. Tinsley keeps it himself off glass.
Boy, Delonte West, the rookie again. Not heads up, not recognizing there's a player behind you. Big turnover, go the other way. Tinsley gets the lay in.
Well, Jamal Tinsley, his first practice yesterday with the Pacers. First time he was on a basketball floor in over 2 months. And what a game he has had so far. Here's Ricky Davis.
Again, off the pass from Paul Pierce. Had the ball in the post, double team. Ricky Davis is feeding off of it. He's making shots.
And some more chance of defense here in Boston. Sellout crowd of better than 18,000 tonight here at the Fleet Center. O'Neal turns and faces on Walker. Likes that matchup. Down to 5 to shoot. As the Celtics rebound with Ricky Davis. Now Payton has it. Payton trying to cut inside, but Reggie Miller, those long arms, comes up with the steal.
And that's a bad pass by Antoine Walker. Paul Pierce has not had the ball. When he has the ball, someone scores or he scores.
And that is turnover number 12 for Boston. Miller tracks it down to the corner. Now back out for Tinsley. And with the shot clock down to 6, a reach-in foul called on Gary Payton. And that'll be the 4th team foul on the Celtics. So a side out for Indiana.
What a great steal right there. Steals, and then he gives Paul Pierce a little show, the ball fake. Pierce kind of leans the other way. Tinsley gets the lay in.
Fred, what a game Tinsley has had. And as you look at his numbers, they won't blow you away. 6 points and 5 assists. But for a man playing his first game in over 2 months, he has been phenomenal tonight for the Pacers.
Good call. He's done a great job. Why? Because he's calmed this team down.
Shot clock down to 1. James Jones spots up. Offensive rebound, Dale Davis, and he stuffs it through.
Oh, you called it right, Spiro. Yeoman's job on the backboard. Dale Davis with the offensive rebound and the jam.
And Dale Davis, 12 points tonight and 4 rebounds in 20 minutes. So unexpected sources of offense for the Pacers. There is Delonte West. And whatever little momentum the Celtics had for a late second quarter has evaporated.
And it's amazing because what happens, this Pacer team is focused. They're really focused. They're taking care of the basketball. They're moving the basketball. And Jermaine O'Neal has really set the table for his ball club.
Oh, you heard his slap there. Walker got away with the foul on O'Neal. Walker tried to get into his move before he corralled the basketball. As the Celtics commit their 13th turnover.
And Reggie Miller did a great thing by telling his players, come down the floor, get here.
And a whistle stops play. The foul called on Boston with 5:32 left to play in this third quarter. And the Celtics right now hearing the boos from this Fleet Center crowd. So a break of the action. The Celtics down by 10 points in Game 5.
Carlisle a lot of credit. Why? Because Doc Rivers went small. So what did Carlisle do? He came back with Dale Davis in the ballgame with the big guy. What did that do? They control the backboards. Offense rebounds, Dale Davis. It's going to force now Doc Rivers to go back big and take that small lineup out of the ballgame.
A look there, courtside, Massachusetts Governor Matt. Out of the timeout, the Pacers with James Jones, Dale Davis, Anthony Johnson, Jermaine O'Neal, and Reggie Miller.
And Boston's come back with Rayford Prince in the ballgame. They've got to come big. They've got to respond because you cannot give up offensive rebounds, this late in the ballgame. Every offensive rebound basket becomes a big one.
Well, pivotal Game 5, the swing game of any series. As we figure out who will take the 3-2 lead into Indianapolis for Game 6 coming up on Thursday night.
And it's going to boil down to who makes threes and who makes their free throws. What it boils down to, because the defenses are going to be good. They're going to be free throws. You got to make those three-pointers. Big difference in the ball game. You won't get easy shots.
Second free throw from O'Neal goes through. And Jermaine now 16 points and 9 rebounds in his 26 minutes. The Celtics with Peyton, Pierce, LaFrentz, Ricky Davis, and Delonte West. So Walker on the bench. Here is Davis. Got away with the extra step. Turns it over anyway. Johnson up ahead for Miller. And Reggie continues to be quiet with it. Here is O'Neal. Great position. Pierce blocked his shot. And now Ricky Davis. A foot race with Johnson. And the basket will not count. The whistle was blown well before the shot.
Jermaine O'Neal right down at point-blank range. Right there. Really couldn't get himself together. Rayful French with the long left hand. Gets the block. Celtics in the open floor. Ball out on the side. Foul called.
Foul called on Anthony Johnson. It's his second. As we hit the 5-minute mark now left in this third quarter. Here is Pierce, just puts his head down right to the basket. And he will earn a chance at the charity line.
And you've got to like Paul Pierce's toughness. He went to the basket, watch the speed of the play. He's going strong, left-handed, to the hoop strong, absorbs the contact, but still, eyes on the basket, still trying to finish the shot. He'll go to the line for 2.
Both teams in the penalty now as Pierce in a shooting situation with 4:57 left to play in this third quarter. Pierce, the 4-time All-Star, again represented the Celtics this season. All-Star game played in Denver back in mid-February.
Pacers cannot afford to have bad possessions. It's so important to have a good possession. Even if you miss an open shot, you can live with that, but you've got to have good possessions.
This crowd trying to rally the troops now as the Celtics again to within 10 points. Here is Anthony Johnson. James Jones getting some key minutes again tonight with the injuries the Pacers are dealing with. And for a third time tonight, Fred, a whistle against Boston with the shot clock winding down, that time at just 2 seconds.
And you can see Anthony Johnson struggling because Why's not a point guard, doesn't have the quick dribble or the slick dribble. He's getting in trouble. I watched him that time. He didn't look at the shot clock to know the shot clock was going down.
Foul called on Delonte West. That's his third. And the rookie has to know better in that situation. So Anthony Johnson to the free throw line for Indiana. Johnson came off the bench tonight for the first time in this series. That's because Jamal Tinsley made his return to the lineup for the Pacers. Johnson slowed by an assortment of injuries, dealing with a sore left foot and also a back strain he suffered in Game 4. Substitution now as Dale Davis will sit down. Jeff Foster back in for Rick Carlisle.
And Jeff Foster's a guy that keeps balls alive. He hustles, dives on the floor for loose balls, and gets offensive rebounds. Making free throws, so important.
Anthony Johnson, his first points of the night, and he's given the Pacers a 12-point lead. Here is Pierce again, right to the rack, into the corner. And Pierce that time a little bit out of control as the Celtics commit their 15th turnover.
He was out of control, trying to go to the basket hard, to draw a foul, gun hung up, tried to make a pass across the court. It didn't happen, out of bounds.
Halftime in Detroit, the Sixers lead the Pistons 44-43. Here is James Jones, left open, knocks down a three.
And don't be surprised, you watch his stroke, this young fella can flat out stroke it. So a catch, rise, and shoot. Boy, what a great job.
Well, Jones had his best game of the series in Game 4, and he has continued that so far tonight. He's continuing coverage of these 2005 playoffs. Spiro Ditas, Fred Carter, our entire NBA TV crew with you. And the Pacers right now, Fred, continue to distance themselves, really, because of the great balance. Tinsley orchestrating the offense, and Jermaine O'Neal, a great bounce-back performance from what we saw in Game 4. And you get a whistle here away from the basketball. Pierce is bumped James Jones. And Indiana is in the penalty, so Pierce with a chance to cut into the deficit, and a mock cheer from the crowd here.
Well, I'm not laughing at the cheer. I'm laughing at Paul Pierce victimizing a rookie as he's trying to come off a back screen across the lane. There's a little bit of contact, but what Paul does, he exaggerates the contact and make it look as if he's being mugged. Great job acting. He goes to the line for 2 free throws. Victimizing rookies, I see Reggie Miller do it all the time.
He's the master of it. As the Celtics finally started to take advantage at the free throw line, they've knocked down 13 straight after missing 4 of their first 6.
There's been not many field goals made anymore. James Jones made the 3-pointer, but there have been a lot of free throws being taken by both ball clubs.
Well, both of these teams have proven, not only in this series, but during the regular season, that they can win on the road. And so far, so good for the Pacers. Reggie Miller off balance.
Oh, cold-blooded that was. Coming off his screen, running hard. Catch, let his elbows find the basket. He knocked it down.
Reggie, that trademark fall-away jump shot. Here is Delonte West now, guarded loosely by O'Neal. Pierce again wants to work on Jones. A hard foul as Jeff Foster swallowed him up.
And he certainly did swallow up. I'm not sure. I don't know whether he made a play at the ball, but look at this play. Jeff Foster come across, all contact, all ball. Paul Pierce is so strong, he absorbed the contact. A lesser guy would have been on the floor, then it may have been a flagrant foul.
Well, Pierce, no surprise, a very busy man at the free throw line. Pierce has finished in the top 3 the last 4 years in the league in terms of free throw attempts and makes. And this season, no exception.
And about 5 minutes ago, I mentioned the importance of making free throws. I think this guy's hurting because everybody's making free throws.
Well, you do have that very strong baritone voice, and we are close to the floor here.
Not like Barry White.
Pacers have it. They'll bring it the length of the floor with Anthony Johnson. So Jamon Tinsley a chance to catch his breath on that Pacers bench. Indiana with a 13-point lead. Here is O'Neal, wants to work on the fronts. And Foster the back tap as O'Neal tracks it down.
And that's a bad shot by Jermaine O'Neal. He's got to have more patience in his offense. Don't hurt your ball club.
9 rebounds for O'Neal now. Johnson calls for a screen, gets it from Miller. Shot clock down at 9. It's Miller against the rookie West. Reggie, step back shot. And the rebound taken by Gary Payton.
And Reggie knew he had a rookie, tried to use him.
Celtics need some offense. Extra pass, Davis into the corner. Delonte West, the 3-pointer.
And they knew it. The Celtic players knew it. They worked the ball around the horn to the rookie, Delonte West. He delivered, knocking the 3 to ball. Today now players are allowed to have their hands on the side of the ball and turn it over. For us, that was carrying.
Well, Kuzi had to appreciate that unselfish extra feed a moment ago by Ricky Davis as he found a rookie in the corner, Delonte West. And right now these fans start to raise the volume. Fred Jones into the game being hounded, and he stepped out of bounds.
Rick Carlisle's got to be careful. This is a difficult stretch. He's got guys that are being pressed to the left of the court, and he doesn't have Tinsley in the ball game. This could be a problem.
Celtics have trailed by as many as 15 points. They could cut it to single digits. Chance of let's go Celtics now. Here's Ricky Davis. Bumped and fouled in the act. Both teams are well over the limit, so more free throws now for Boston. And Freddie, they have attacked the basket in this third quarter.
And that's led by Paul Pierce and, of course, Ricky Davis trying to get it to the basket. Paul Pierce was a little bit upset on that particular play because he expected the ball to come back to him. Ricky Davis, meanwhile, put his head down. He was going to the basket.
Foul called on Jeff Foster, his 3rd. And a break in the action gives us a chance to remind you about that game being played at the Palace of Auburn Hills tonight. Game 5, Sixers and Pistons. And at the break, the Sixers right now with a 1-point lead, 44-43. Trying to stave off elimination. Well, the Celtics have hit 19 straight free throws as they have trimmed it to a 9-point advantage. And the Pacers with back-to-back turnovers.
And here comes Jamal Tinsley. Rick Carlisle made a big mistake. Just should have gotten him in on the last possession. And here's the replay right here. James Jones. See, you've got to take care of the basketball, young fella. You keep your body in front of the ball. This way the defender can't get it. When you're tall, you got a high dribble. You've got to bend your legs a little more.
I correct myself. That last sequence at the free throw line, 1 of 2 for Ricky Davis. Here is Paul Pierce meantime as he finds an open spot. And the Celtics start to make their run now to within 7.
And the full court pressure is what's turned the ball game around for the Celtics.
An 8-0 Celtics run. And who do the Pacers turn to now? Jamal Tinsley back into the game, trying to find a teammate. Shot clock down to 4. Tough spot for Foster as he fires up an air ball.
Stephen Jackson sitting on the bench. Reggie Miller sitting on the bench.
Ricky Davis with the crowd ready to explode.
And the Pacers have got to find a way to get the ball inside to Jermaine O'Neal. He can calm this team down with a good play inside.
Stephen Jackson slowly walks his way to the scorer's table. Tinsley controls. A great crossover move by Tinsley. And a whistle stops play. The foul called on the Celtics. And it looks to be against Al Jefferson, the rookie.
Al Jefferson was banging Jermaine O'Neal down in the post, seeing if Jermaine was tough enough to take it. I can tell you, young fella, Jermaine is tough enough to take it.
So the Celtics insert the rookie here late stages of the third quarter. He joins Ricky Davis, West, Marcus Banks, and Paul Pierce.
Making free throws again is so important. Especially in a hostile arena, because these fans now are all, if they don't have on green, they're ready to put on, everybody put on green. Jermaine O'Neal's got to make the second one. As I said before, when you miss 2, it's the same as a turnover.
Well, Jermaine O'Neal was so huge in the first round series against the Celtics a year ago. And a different time this season, dealing with that injured right shoulder. Has been up and down in this series, but tonight, certainly back up. Goes 1 of 2 at the free throw line. He has 17 points in addition to 9 rebounds. Final 43 seconds of this third period. And a whistle here against the Pacers. Away from the basketball. It's against Fred Jones.
Yes,
and again, the Pacers in the penalty.
It's become a free throw shooting contest. As I said earlier, you've got to make the free throws. You get to the line with free shots, you've got to knock both of them down. Last time, Ricky Davis 1 for 2. Jermaine O'Neal 1 for 2. Paul Pierce has already missed 2 free throws in this ball game.
Pierce, Freddie, still has attempted just 6 field goals in this game. He's 11 of 13 at the free throw line for 18 points.
Well, you get him some kind of way, either from the floor or from the foul line, somewhere along the ball game. He will get the touches and the field goal attempts in the fourth period. It's a matter of whether he's making. He has enough free throws now to have a 25, 30-point game. He needs field goals now.
Well, Paul Pierce, first all-time in Celtics playoff history with 24.9 points per game. That's even better than Larry Bird, who averaged a shade under 24 points.
That's amazing.
Here is Tinsley now working on Marcus Banks. Shot clock down to 13 seconds. As these fans up on their feet now. Here is O'Neal inside, partially blocked by Jefferson. And it is a 3-second lane violation on Indiana.
There's a replay here. I don't know what the call was. It didn't appear to be
It's actually a travel. It appeared that they had signaled a 3-second call, but they get Jermaine.
I don't think it was either.
On the walk. About a 1.5-second difference. Shot to game clock. Pierce picked up by Foster. Down to Ricky Davis. Down to 2 to shoot. Davis inside. And the basket does not count. But it will be Ricky Davis to the free throw line. And again, the Celtics able to victimize the Pacers, Freddie, on the dribble drive.
And Ricky Davis gets his head down to the basket. The foul was called on the pickup. Unfortunately, For Boston, he didn't make the basket, but he's at the free throw line. Last time there, he was 1 for 2.
Ricky Davis tonight now 4 of 7 at the free throw line. The Celtics as a team 21 for 27.
Those are tired-looking free throw attempts, Spiro. The legs aren't working. He doesn't hold his form. That means he's a little fatigued. That's when you walk away from the line. Don't accept the ball right away. There's no reason for you to accept it right away. Walk away from the line. Don't get on there early. The referee will give you time to get to the line. That way you get yourself a little breather.
Al Jefferson will sit down, replaced by another Celtics rookie, Justin Reed, into the game for the first time. Also, Tony Allen is in for Boston. So again, 3 rookies on the floor for Doc Rivers. And the Celtics 14 of 16 at the line in the third quarter alone. 2.9 seconds left for the Pacers. Foster finds Jermaine Jones. Now to Fred Jones. Gets it off in time.
Fan of his.
Well, did his handiwork, of course, just up the road from where we are here at the Fleet Center, the old Boston Garden. This is the 10th year that the Celtics have played here at the Fleet Center. Amazing.
That's amazing how
it's been that long already. Started the fourth quarter as the Celtics ended that third quarter on an 11-1 run. And their momentum spills over into the fourth with a Ricky Davis jump shot.
Oh, what a big jump shot it is. We talk about it all the time. Go to the free throw line, make some free throws. It gives you confidence in shooting the jump shot.
Pacers with Tinsley, Fred Jones, James Jones, Dale Davis, and Anthony Johnson. Shot clock down to 10. Tinsley trying to find someone. Davis steps into the passing lane. James Jones, though, able to deflect it away, and then Tinsley is right on top of Ricky Davis to tie him up.
That's a problem that Tinsley has. Sometimes as a point guard, he tries to put too much mustard on the hot dog, throws a soft pass. Watch the soft pass. Spiro, maybe I could have gotten it and stolen. Meanwhile, the open floor, Ricky Davis outruns his dribble, able to get it back. We got a jump ball. It's not quite a scrum, but I tell you what, this game is picking up in intensity.
Celtics start the fourth with Tony Allen, Ricky Davis, the rookie Al Jefferson, Marcus Banks, and Delonte West. You're right, a very small lineup for Doc Rivers.
And that's why Tinsley's got to get the ball across the timeline and get the ball inside. And the Pacers need Dale Davis back in the ball game.
Again, Rivers had a lot of success with this small alignment in game 4 as the Celtics control the tap. Well, Davis putting his hops on display there. Shot clock down to 7. Here is Banks, picked up by Dale Davis, and tried to thread the needle to Jefferson, and maybe one pass too many. The Celtics have trailed by as many as 15 points. They're within 3. Tinsley hounded by Marcus Banks. And again, Tinsley has to be fatigued here down the stretch as he pulls the string on the jumper. And you know Doc is telling his guys to get into Tinsley right now.
Right, and he's really killing the 24 clock. He's trying to set the challenge by dribbling with the little point guard. He's got to move the ball, get his teammates in the offense.
Tough pass for Jefferson to handle, and then trying to find West. And the Celtics with back-to-back turnovers.
2 second units in the ball game. I tell you before, it's a tough time. It's NBA playoff time. The team that gets his starters back in the game first may be the team that wins this ball game.
The Boston Celtics, the number 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, 45-37 this season after winning their first Atlantic Division title since 1992.
Paul Pierce is sitting at the scores table to come in the ball game.
Here is James Jones, pull-up baseline jumper. And a good call by the officials. Monty McCutcheon all over it again. And that's contact on that jump shot.
I'm sorry, Spiro, but that's a good job by James Jones. Why? Because they sit on his outside shot. They know he can make the three-pointer. Ball fake, get to the basket, get yourself 2 free throws. So important. Here's Tinsley again. Whip the ball, dribble the ball, dribble the ball. See Tinsley dribble. Watch Tinsley dribble. Dribble, Tinsley dribble. Too much dribbling.
I got Tinsley watching that.
The whirling dervish.
So James Jones now back to the free throw line. And his first offering rattles off as we will get another look at Steven Jackson and Jamal Tinsley This has to be winded right now. Again, his first game action in over 2 months, February the 23rd.
It's been a long time.
Well, gave Rick Carlisle a lot more than he could have expected tonight. 6 points and 5 assists for Tinsley in his 23 minutes. And James Jones comes up empty on that trip. And so the Pacers' lead remains just 3 points.
Free throws.
Pierce controls for the Celtics. Now to Ricky Davis. Davis has 19 tonight, guarded by Johnson. Davis likes the matchup, double teamed, and it's a shot clock violation.
And it's amazing you would ISO Ricky Davis and not Paul Pierce. Ricky Davis is a heck of a player. Give him a lot of credit for the things he's done on the floor, but he's not the truth.
Fred Davis, 14 shot attempts tonight, just 6 for Paul Pierce. And Antoine Walker continues to be a non-factor. There's Jackson right to the basket. And the Pacers taking it strong to the goal.
And the other thing, spirit of this game is in the fourth period, team that gets to the bonus first is so important because you want to get those free shots. As you see the foul right there on Steven Jackson as he takes it off the basket.
Second foul on Ricky Davis, and Ricky talking to himself right now as he paces back up the court. And a look there at Antoine Walker.
I hope he doesn't answer.
Antoine just has not figured into this game tonight, making his return from that one-game suspension. Some more substitutions now for the Celtics. As Doc Rivers inserts Gary Payton, he joins Delonte West to the backcourt. Up front, it's Jefferson, Pierce, and Ricky Davis. Davis thought about it, guarded by Fred Jones. Now Pierce. He works on James Jones. Cross court for Davis. Shot clock again winds down. It's to 5 seconds. Jefferson catches it right at the rim and flicks it through.
Oh, that's shades of the North Carolina State winning the title. When the air ball was shot and the guy caught it, laid it in. And that's what Al Jefferson just did. Was that Big T throw Bailey that caught that ball and laid it in?
Absolutely.
I got to remember who took the shot.
Fred Jones calling for it back on the give-and-go attempts to the line, but now who steps up for both of these teams in terms of the star players?
Well, it's got to be Jermaine O'Neal and Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce should command the rest of the ball game along with Jermaine O'Neal. If you double team, then you kick it out.
Here is O'Neal right off the inbounds play, way short, and Pierce the rebound. Jackson hounding him from behind.
Tough coming off the bench and knocking down a jump shot for a big man.
Celtics with Payton, Banks, Jefferson, West, and Paul Pierce. Shot clock winds down to 7 as James Jones comes up with the steal.
Careless with the basketball.
19 Celtics turnovers tonight. Here is Anthony Johnson now. So Jamal Tinsley still on the bench for Indiana. Miller. Inside O'Neal has the rookie Jefferson guarding him. Cross court down to 1 to shoot. Johnson a 3, knocks it down.
Oh, and that's cold-blooded because he took his time. Knew the clock was winding down, but he set his feet, he bent his legs, he raised up and stroked it pure. What a big shot.
Oh, without question, the biggest shot of the game for the Indiana Pacers. And that triumphs this Fleet Center crowd. Here is Pierce. Guarded by 3 and 4 defenders. Jefferson blocked by O'Neal. And what's the call? Last touch by Boston.
Off of Jefferson's hands. O'Neal gets the block from behind. But you notice now, the 2 best players on the floor are the guys that are touching the basketball. O'Neal makes a skip pass across the court to Anthony Johnson, who knocks down a 3. Pierce gets the ball inside to Jefferson for a layup. 2 best players control the ball down the gut.
And Fred, that 3-pointer from Anthony Johnson ending a drought of 7 minutes, 51 seconds for the Pacers without a field goal.
And they still hold 6.
And the offensive foul called. It's against Jermaine O'Neal. So Rafe LaFrance just reinserted by Doc Rivers, able to deny position.
And Jermaine went down with physical contact on Rafe, hit him hard. His head snapped back almost like a whiplash.
That is only the second personal on Jermaine tonight. Celtics again going right to Ricky Davis. And we hit the 7-minute mark left in regulation. Davis again loses the handle. And it's last touch by the Celtics. Now Monty McCutcheon is going to come over and talk things over with Ken Maurer. It looked as though the Pacers had touched it last.
Oh, if we could say this whole play over again. Paul Pierce went to Monty McCutcheon and pleaded the case. Monty McCutcheon has started down the floor. Paul Pierce pleaded the case. Monty McCutcheon went over and talked to Kenny Maurer. Probably should be a jump ball.
Well, the objective, of course, is to get it right. As now Ron Garrettson walks over as the trio of officials has a conference. And they do, in fact, change the call, giving the basketball back to the Celtics. And meantime, Dale Davis has checked back in for the Pacers. And he replaces James Jones. Celtics with 10 on the shot clock. Davis double teamed immediately. LaFrentz couldn't handle. Down to 5 to shoot. Walker, cold off the bench, is able to knock down the runner.
And what a great shot it was. Presence of mind, I call it. You know the clock is down. You need a shot. You need a basket. Antoine came through.
And this is a 4-point basketball game. Miller for 3.
A lot of time left in this ball game.
Boston is trailed tonight by as many as 15 points. Pierce into the corner. Payton for 3.
Gary Payton is not the same three-point shooter he was years ago. He can knock him down, but he's not the same three-point shooter.
Well, Payton just at 32% from deep on the season. Indiana needs some points. Jackson, flat-footed shot, quiets the crowd.
Oh, you can call him Mr. Clutch. Go back to those days of San Antonio Spurs. He makes big shots in big moments.
Here is LaFrentz, blocked inside by O'Neal.
Return to sender. I'll tell you what, this game has really picked up offensively and defensively.
Oh, LaFrentz set the tone early with a couple of blocks on O'Neal. But Jermaine returns the favor as Walker able to bring the Celtics to within 4 a moment ago. It's now 6. Leading that game, 53-50.
Sixers are hanging in a gutty game and a gutty performance by that ball club. As you see Steven Jackson knock down that clutch jump shot to keep his team ahead by 6 points. Indiana is holding on. Meanwhile, the Celtics have turned the ball over 19 times for 25 points. The team that turns the ball over twice the rest of the way will lose this ball game. The team that makes 1 or 2 threes will also win this ball game down the gut.
Oh, the winner tonight will be in the driver's seat. Inside, Pierce finds Payton.
And that's why you have the ball in the hands of Paul Pierce. He makes things happen.
Pierce with 3 assists tonight. Again, he's taken just 6 shots in 38 minutes. Pacers' lead has shrunk back down to 4 as a whistle stops play away from the ball. Foul on Paul Pierce. And it's number 3 on him.
Well, there's Paul Pierce in the lane. Look at the defense. Attracting 3 men. Someone's got to be open. He finds Gary Payton for the layup. That's darn good basketball.
3rd team foul called on Boston. Here is O'Neal inside. LaFrentz blocked the shot, and Davis had it knocked away. Here is Payton now. Payton's spin move on Johnson. Into the corner, LaFrentz. As the shot clock winds down to 12, Walker trying to work his way back into it. And an identical shot that we saw from Walker just a few moments ago.
And what a good shot it was. He likes to go with his left hand. Going left, got the little floater, and he got the home court roll.
The Celtics to within 2 here in Game 5.
Pacers, O'Neal is not scoring.
Well, if you're just joining us, the Pacers welcoming Jamal Tinsley back into the lineup for the first time since late February tonight. And he controls as we move under 5 minutes left in regulation. Reggie, a 3-pointer, buries it.
Oh. That may be Spaghetti-O, because I tell you what, he knocked down a big-time 3, and that's a play coming out of the timeout, and Reggie knows it's his.
Is there anyone better at quieting down a sold-out arena than Reggie Miller?
Well, you talk about silencing the lambs. He certainly did. This building went quiet.
Here is Pierce, just his 7th-shot attempt of the night. Returns the favor with a triple of his own.
No, Reggie, not in my backyard. You don't do that. Paul Pierce, this is high-definition basketball right here.
And the Celtics right back to within 2. Miller. O'Neal, extra feed to Davis. Offensive foul called. And it looks like Pierce is shaken up there as he's helped back to his feet.
There's Paul Pierce on the three-pointer. Good ball fake. Still the presence of mind to stay behind the line. He knocks down the three. Boy, this game has gotten exciting.
And a look a moment ago as Davis shedding Pierce, who was denying position.
That's what big guys do to little guys. They shed them.
The Celtics try to tie the game at 80. That one last touched by Indiana. And Steven Jackson exchanging some words now with Gary Payton. Two very chatty players going at it.
But Steven Jackson's got to learn to keep us cool. Engage your mind before you open your mouth.
Here is LaFrance. And a whistle stops play as O'Neal collides there with Ricky Davis. And a call here on O'Neal. And that'll be number 3 on Jermaine.
Ricky
and
Davis,
it's just the first team foul on the Pacers.
Ricky Davis probably going to get an Emmy for this, because watch what he does. He runs right into Jermaine and just throws himself to the floor and pulls Jermaine over top of him. Pretty darn good play.
So now some more discussion between Ricky Davis. Not sure what he's arguing about. Celtics will inbound, trying to tie this game at the 4-minute mark. Jackson hounding Pierce. Pierce just lowers his shoulder, but he could not finish.
Lowers his shoulder, almost out of control. No way you can finish that shot.
Fred, the Celtics just cannot get over the hump.
And sometimes when you don't, the other team responds, and they run off 6 or 8, and you can pull the plug. This game might be over.
O'Neal left open. LaFrance closing, but a half step too late as O'Neal stretches the lead back to 4.
And one of the better 15-foot shooting big men in the league, especially square up, feet together, he can knock it down.
O'Neal just 9 points in game 4 tonight. 19 points in his 37 minutes. And he had missed 7 straight, Fred, before that make.
This is a big possession.
Davis, the kick out to Pierce, down to 3 to shoot. Pierce on Miller, beats the shot clock.
And that's what we're talking about, because great players know and understand time and score and what to do to get their team over the hump.
Again, the Celtics to within 2, 82-80. Here is Jackson. Shot clock winds down to 5 seconds. Jackson recognizes, guarded by Walker. Step back 3, puts it down. Wow. What a shot by Jackson.
NBA action, right? Fantastic. Make the threes. Let's have some fun. Look at the basket. Let's make shots.
Steven Jackson, the Pacers' leading scorer in this series, with an enormous 3 as Antoine Walker is fouled. And again, that is just the 2nd team foul on the Pacers.
And that's a good foul. Why? Because time was taken off the clock. Now you take the ball out on the side. It doesn't cost you anything. And we're coming down to 2:23, and the Pacers hold 5. That's not a bad foul.
What a shot by Steven Jackson. Foul called on Jamal Tinsley a moment ago. His 4th personal. Pierce, a lot of contact as Dale Davis came over on the help. And it will be Paul Pierce back to the free throw line. He's 12 for 14 tonight. Foul called on Tinsley, his 5th.
And watch Pierce going to the basket, caring nothing about his body, caring about getting his team over the hump. Paul Pierce, toughness, going to the basket, will get to 2 free throws. Let's see if he makes them both. If you watch the form, Spiro, and the body language, that's fatigue. The stomach muscles didn't hold it. The arms are tired. That's why I think players should not run and get on the free throw line right away down the gut of ball games. Take that extra 5 or 7 seconds.
Stomach muscles. Yes. Interesting.
Because that holds the platform there.
Okay.
See, he stayed up. His whole body stayed up high that time. He collapsed early.
You're the man, Fred.
Weak stomach muscles. You can't hold that platform, especially late in the game.
So Pierce 1 of 2 at the free throw line as the Pacers lead down to 4 again. 85-81. Miller. A battle for it. Walker comes away with it. And we move under 2 minutes left in game 5. Pierce loses it to Tinsley. And a foul called on Paul Pierce. And Rick Carlisle right now is calling for a clear path foul, but Reggie Miller, it looked like was step for step rather with Gary Payton.
And Tinsley did a great job as Paul Pierce tried to go behind his back. He didn't see Tinsley. He closed out and got the steal. Remember, we talked about closing out ball games? This is the last 2 minutes. Let's see who closes out the ball game. The next three-pointer is going to win this ball game.
Here is Tinsley. Into the corner, Jackson a three. Way strong, misses everything. And now it's off to the races with Ricky Davis. And Fred, a heady play to pull it out. Davis did not have numbers.
That was a bad three-point attempt by Steven Jackson. That's something that wasn't needed. Holding 4, you eat the clock.
Pierce, guarded by Jackson. A help defender comes over. Pierce tries to follow. It's still loose, and Reggie unable to get there. And Reggie goes head first into the front row there.
He certainly did go head first. What an effort. But you see all those teammates there? Those guys have got to jump up and try to grab and save him. He's your teammate.
Fred, that is an 18-year veteran, 39 years of age, offering his body.
And you see those teammates walk out of the way. I've seen it done in baseball where guys would get out of the way, stand there, catch your teammate. He's trying to hustle to make a winning play. Don't walk out of the way. Reach out 5 guys. Rebound. Possession is most important.
Fred, one other critical element, I should say, down the stretch. The Celtics do not have any timeouts left. So in a 4-point game with 1:16 left, that could become a major factor.
A veteran team. Doc Rivers has probably gave them 2 plays to run.
Out of the timeout. Excuse me, Fred. The Celtics with Payton, LaFrance, Walker, Ricky Davis, and Paul Pierce. The Pacers with Reggie Miller, O'Neal, Dale Davis, Jamal Tinsley, and Steven Jackson. This series knotted at 2 games apiece. And how critical is this final minute for the Celtics, who would have to go to Indianapolis down 3-2 on Thursday night. LaFrance thought about it. Still 15 on the shot clock. A bad shot by LaFrance.
Clock is important now. Clock management is so important. Guys that have their heads on their head, they won't give the ball up until 3 seconds on the clock.
LaFrance
don't do anything with it.
Just discombobulated, had plenty of time to work with, decided to hoist up the shot. Miller off balance. And LaFrance atones as he corrals the rebound. Davis down to 40 seconds left. Davis cross-court, Walker a three. And a huge miss by Walker. And the rebound by Dale Davis. And the Celtics are over the foul limit. But the good news, Dale Davis not a very good free throw shooter.
Here's the replay here. Paul Pierce doesn't have it. He probably should have kept the ball. Let's swing it to Antoine. Wide open three. No chance. Hits the back base of the rim. And that's a darn good rebound in there for Dale Davis. This Pacers team has played tough. They played hard. But you still have to finish off the ball game as Rick Carlisle calls it 20.
20-second time.
So a chance for Doc Rivers to set something up on the next offensive sequence. Dale Davis, to his defense, has actually increased his numbers for the first time in his career at the free throw line, 62% in the regular season.
You know, it's amazing. There was a guy named Caldwell Jones who was not a very good free throw shooter during the regular season. When it came playoff time, all of a sudden he jumped that percentage up to 80%. And you wonder how, you wonder why. But some guys have that concentration, that toughness, and CJ had it.
So we are down to the final 34.8 seconds left here in Game 5 at the Fleet Center in Boston.
You know, it's interesting because with the Pacers with 3 team fouls, they have a foul to give. So you can do it one or two ways. With 34, you can pressure, make a team dribble the ball around, and then foul to make it go out the side. And steal 7 seconds off the clock. You don't always have to wait down to the end. you can get it whenever you want. But make sure you get it. If not, it'll wind up being a two-shot foul on you.
Dale Davis, 2 of 3 at the free throw line tonight. Again, a 62% free throw shooter on the season. Meantime, some changes for Doc Rivers as he goes with his shooters for Delonte West and Mark Banks off the bench. And Davis misses badly.
So that means now for Indiana Pacers, what they must do is now, because this team is looking for threes, you switch everything. Twos don't hurt you. So don't get caught in a draw and pitch. Don't help out. 2-pointers don't hurt you. Indiana's holding 4. You can live with a 2-pointer because you're going back to the free throw line again.
So Jermaine sits down now for Rick Carlisle.
And you have a foul to give.
Pacers with Davis, Tinsley, Johnson, Reggie Miller, and Steven Jackson. Again, the Celtics with no timeouts left. A critical free throw from Dale Davis. This is a 5-point basketball game. Here is Banks. Puts his head down, puts it down, and a foul is called.
Now, it's just a goaltending call. They let him score too quick. That's what I mean about giving the foul, because now it's a 3-point game, and you still have a foul to give. Take the foul home with you.
So Freddie's right. It is a goaltend as the Celtics back to within 3 now.
And what happens, Jamal Tinsley has to backpedal on Marcus Banks. You get a guy backpedaling, you cross him, you get in the lane, he's got no chance at all. Goaltending, but it's still a good play.
And more free throws now for the Pacers with 27.6 seconds left. And Anthony Johnson walking to the free throw line.
And now let's say he makes 1 or 2. What you do is now, having a foul to give, you pick this team up full court, make them take 4 or 5 seconds off the clock, and then give a foul. Take the time away from them now. Don't wait till later. Or you wind up giving up 2 free throws on a foul.
The Indiana Pacers, the number 6 seed in the Eastern Conference, trying to move 1 step closer to the semifinal round. And what a big win this would be tonight. Would put them in prime position to win the series on their home floor, Game 6 on Thursday night.
In the second quarter, when the two teams had bad lineups in the ball game, and I said Boston doesn't have anyone in the score, Indiana took a 2-point lead to 9. Boston never regained the lead from that point. That might be the turning point in this ball game. Scott Pollard made 2 jump shots. James Jones made a 3. Anthony Johnson made a little shot in the lane.
Critical free throws from Johnson, and the Pacers taking care of business at the free throw line. Again, no timeouts for Boston. Banks trying to find a teammate. Here is Pierce, a 3-pointer, too strong. Banks the rebound, and Jackson comes away with it. Still loose, and O'Neal has it. Davis the interception. A lot of time elapsing off the clock. And they say last touch by Boston, and that should do it.
Tell you what, you've got to give the Indiana Pacers a lot of credit, because I tell you what, they looked so bad in the Game 4 at home. People were ready to call the coroner on this ball club, but yet they resurrected themselves, and they possibly got themselves a W, the second one in the playoffs at the Fleet Center.
Freddie, this sold-out crowd stunned right now as the fans start to head for the exits. Clock stopped at 9.1 seconds left, and Larry Bird,
A little smile.
a wide grin from the former Celtics crowd.
Down the floor, it's been tough, it's been competitive, but it's been a fair game.
The Pacers setting a franchise playoff record low with their point production in Game 4 of this series. After losing big to the Celtics back in their home building, just 79 points. Also set a franchise playoff low with their 26% shooting tonight. A much different story. The Pacers as a team shooting 45%. And they are about to come away with the victory.
And they look so inept in Game 4 in their own building. We thought this ball club was dead. We were ready to have an autopsy because they didn't look good at all. And this, you wonder, coming into Boston, the same mentality, the same pressure, you wonder, did the Pacers have a chance? But this team has resurrected themselves all year, and they're still fighting.
What an incredible season it has been for Rick Carlisle. as modest a coach, Freddie, as you will find in the NBA. You ask him about what a great season it has been just on a personal level, dealing with all the injuries, of course, the suspensions way back. Ron Artest playing just 7 games for this Pacers team on the season. And to be in the position that they're in now, not only in the playoffs, but a game away from the Eastern Conference semifinals, nothing short of incredible.
Nothing short of it. And I tell you what, he defers to his players and tells you that